Hey guys, Ray from loveyourrv.com, coming today from a large vineyard, or boondocking in a big vineyard in the central California Valley. Somewhere around mid-April, she stopped off. A friend lets us boondock in his vineyard, very nice of him. So today what I'm going to do is check the roof. Maybe go through kind of some of the checks I do on the old RV roof. We're going to be leaving California pretty soon to head back to British Columbia. And I'm sure going through Oregon and Washington and into British Columbia in the spring we're going to encounter quite a bit of rainy weather. So before I get there, I usually take this opportunity to clean and check the roof so I don't get any leaks. After spending the last 5.5 months in the desert, a lot of sun, so it's good to check for any cracks or anything that have developed before we hit the rainy weather. I don't use too much to clean the roof. Generally, I'll just get a soft bristled long brush, wet it down, and I'll use some Dawn dish soap. I find that's mild and does a pretty good job of getting the dirt off the roof. If I need to clean up any tough stains or around the die-core sealant or that, I use some acetone in a cloth. A lot of times I'll use that if I need to get a close inspection of something, looking for a crack in the die-core sealant. You probably noticed I got a lot of the white tape here, the Eternabond tape. That's a choice I made about 3 years or 4 years ago now, that I taped this, because I got kind of after 4 years I was I didn't like to keep going up and redoing the die-core all the time. You know, the die-core lap sealant that they usually use on roofs. If you spend a lot of time in the sun, that stuff can get to crack and harden over time, and you're constantly having to re-goop over it, or you're going to have to pull it out and goop again, and they recommend at least once a year to do that, so it kind of becomes a pain to do that all the time. So I elected to spend a bit of money on the Eternabond tape. You can see I've really done the back corners here. That was a weak spot with these Cougars. Water would pool, especially in the back corners here. It's one reason I have you see these lines here. They're kind of channels from my air conditioner that in the summer it spews out a lot of water. So rather than have it pool in the corner, I have a kind of a little DIY gutter to get it over to the main gutter to get rid of most of the liquid. And that's worked out well. You can see the tape is still, 4 years later, it's still in really good condition. My roof isn't in too bad a condition, especially up on the top. I keep it cleaned. Usually do it once every, maybe 3-4 times a year. I'll get up here and give it a good clean. I think the worst part is my slide, which is kind of weird because it's in a lot. But you can see on the slide, I've noticed starting to get some of these black dots. And that's the underlying. I have an EDPM rubber roof that's really black, and then they put a white coating on it. It's starting to wear through on the slide a bit. I also noticed I taped the slide's edges just mainly for protection and stuff. And that back piece I taped where they have a seam there. I went a little overboard maybe with the tape, but it's really helped protect my roof. You can see on the corner here I taped it where it falls into the gutter. The gutter was starting to, the silicone they used in the gutter was starting to get all cracked and peeling away, so I decided to just put the tape right across it so the water just falls into the gutter. Don't have to worry about that seam. Also, it helps protect my rubber roof. You know, if you got tree branches sliding across, or sometimes I got the hose up here. It's a little layer of protection. And also I did all around the vents here. So usually I'll pull the vents off and have a good look at all the tape and all the seams in here. Make sure nothing's starting to peel away, or I'm not getting any cracks. But you can see it looks pretty good. This is the first vent I did when I installed the Fantastic fan. So that's 4 years old now. Still looks great, still stuck really well. And around the venting there, Also, you can see where I used the tape to to kind of keep wires down on the roof too, so I'm not tripping over them or anything, and I don't have to put any holes in to put wire wraps. So yeah, I just go through all the different seams and just check everything. This time I've also noticed I'm getting a little problem over here, whereas the roof is starting to bubble a bit right here. I assume the underlying glue is starting to pull away just right here. I thought maybe I might have had a leak in there, but I really don't see where it would come from. And it's really hard. There's no soft spots. That's another thing I'll look for, is any soft spots that go around the roof. Just, you know, feeling, see if anything, because a soft spot's going to indicate you got a leak going on. Also in here I pulled the underlying vent cover or skylight cover down, and I had a look in there and looked for any water, but there was no signs of intrusion. So what I think is just the glue in here is starting to come loose. So I'm going to just monitor that. It's just a small section right now, but if it starts to get too bubbly, I might have to, you know, make a couple pinholes and get some kind of adhesive underneath there to get it to stick back down, and then patch those. Speaking of patches, we got the patch I did here where I had a staple that was popped and I put a screw in. That's looking good. I haven't had too many more staples popping on the main roof. There is some signs down here on the slide roof. Let's go down. And for some people, yeah, you can walk. My slide I can walk on. I've been on it many times. Just try to step pretty gingerly and a lot of hands and knees. But you can see right here, the camera shows it too well, but there's a lump there. So those staples are starting to back off on that seam. So that's another thing that I'm watching closely. See how it goes. I might have to put a patch across there. And on the back, I'll go and check this area here where my camera is mounted. You know, I don't use tape around these kind of weird looking things because it's flat tape, so it'd just be a mess trying to do it. So I stick with the die core there, and this has a die core on the lid here because I mounted my station onto there. But in this junction box, there's just one hole right in the center. It's only about a 1/2 inch hole, and a lot of die core around it, so I can look inside and check for leaks too, but there's been no problem there. Same with the air conditioner. The air conditioner has a rubber gasket inside, so you can't really see it from the outside. But I always kind of pull the cover down and just make sure nothing's starting to leak in there, because those gaskets sometimes dry out, or they need adjustment with the inside screws to clamp them if they start to come loose. But I always monitor that. What else? Oh, let's go to the front here. Do have a couple of these 360 siphon vents, so I just give them a good check. Again, there's not much likelihood they would leak because they're kind of like the hole is in the middle and there's a lot of flange around them, and then I die cord underneath, so not much chance of leaking there. What I do is make sure my solar panels are still good after all those rough desert roads. Make sure they're really solid. You can see they're put in with the Z brackets there. Also check the die core there, make sure it's not starting to crack or needs to have some reapplied to it. But they look good. These two panels here have been on, must be 4 years or so. Those ones maybe 3. So they've been on a long time, and they haven't budged or anything. They're screwed into the underlying decking. Since this is a walk-on roof, I think they have 3/8 boarding in here. So they've been good, no problem there. And then maybe we'll go up front and I'll show you how I check the front of the rig there for any problems or leaks that may be cropping up. Beautiful day today. Had a few days of a lot of wind, but finally it's calmed down, so I've been able to get on the roof and check things out. Okay, so for the front cap, I just take my Werner telescopic ladder here and set it up in the bed of my truck. The new truck's nice because it's a It's about 4 or 5 inches taller than my old truck, so I get even more height out of it. One of the advantages of a tall truck anyway. Anyways, go up the ladder. I can get high enough and I can reach over and check out the seam on the front. You can see I did the same with the Eternabond tape there. I taped over that front seam. It's a notorious leak area where the die core seam was there between the fiberglass and the rubber roof. There's usually a gap there, and I think a lot of times because it's way on the front of the fifth wheels, it doesn't get much attention because it's hard to get at. So it starts to crack and you get water coming in right in the ceiling above your bedroom. Another one to always check out is the marker lights. Make sure the silicone's still looking good around there. Just pull the lens cap and make sure there's no signs of water intrusion, because that's another big one that always gets people in trouble. You get a little bit of leakage in there. You can see a lot of the water can drip off onto those. So I usually just go and inspect that, make sure there's no problems there. You can see I got lots of bugs on this. I just had this Cougar perfectly cleaned until I hit the valley, and poof, bugorama. Oh well, what can you do? Two other critical places I check are where the gutter spouts pour the water off the end there, because I find that's another spot, because all the water is getting channeled into that area and pours off, like almost looks in a good rainstorm, looks like a faucet coming out of there. So make sure everything's watertight there on the front, and then of course we have the ones on the back too, right on the corners there. Corners always seem to be a big problem, along with that front cap for leakage problems in an RV. But so far we're at year 8 now, full-time RVing, so this thing never gets stored. It's always out in the sun. Not too bad for the age. So far the roof's holding up pretty good. This bathroom vent seems to collect quite a bit of dust and debris under the vent topper here, so I'm just going to clean that up with the acetone there, and so I can get a closer look, make sure the die core is not starting to crack under there. You can see that does a pretty good job of cleaning down. I can kind of see there's one little hole there that's starting to develop. I'll get a closer look at that. Might have to add a bit on that one. Okay, cleaned it up a bit, but you can kind of see what I'm looking for when I'm inspecting it. That's why I like to clean off the debris. You can see there's a little bit here that's starting to crack. I'm not too worried about this particular application, because the seam is actually right here where the vent is in, and there's actually die core right under the 4-inch wide tape, and the tape's stuck down. So like this die core is mainly just to keep, I usually put just a little trim piece, keep the tape peel covered there, so less chance of the tape peeling off, but it's still down really flat. But I like to inspect all the thing, and if anything like that is a good time to clean it out really well with the acetone, let it dry, and then put fresh die core lap sealant on it. I find the acetone works really well. It also shouldn't harm the rubber roof. My EDPM rubber roof acetone is not supposed to harm it. I've used mineral spirits in the past, and I find actual mineral spirits clean up a lot even better, but you have to watch on the rubber roof. You don't want it to let it pool anywhere, or actually it can soak into the rubber roof and cause problems, they say, with the mineral spirits. But that's what I do, go through all anywhere there's that die core lap sealant, I'll clean it off and have a look. And anywhere I've taped to have a look, you can see here there's a little bit of an imperfection. That's actually where I knelt. Sometimes when it's really warm up on the roof, really hot summer day, the sealant underneath will get kind of more liquidy. If you kneel on it, kind of get a little bit of stretch marks. I had a pretty bad one near my fridge vent one time when I was working on my fridge there. You can see where I knelt and just caused it to crease, but it's okay. But yeah, I'll go through all my taped areas and look for any imperfections and deal with them. But overall, it's looking pretty good. I'm really pleased with how this roof is holding up. This is another critical area I pay attention to where the TV antenna goes in. Same thing, is kind of odd, too much of an odd shape to use the tape on, so to stick with the die core. So I clean it up really well. Sometimes I'll add some more there. There's where the cable goes in. That's another one to watch. And then usually underneath, you can pull off the plate that does the adjustment, the turny thingy. And you can look up inside and make sure there's no evidence of any water penetration as well. And around my antennae here where it's mounted, I super gooped those. So there's just 2 screws going in there, but I definitely didn't want those to leak as well. So I just give those a quick check as well. Well, there you go. I hope you found those tips useful, especially if you're new and wondering how to keep the roof maintenance up and try to prevent those nasty leaks. Nothing can ruin an RV worse than a roof leak that isn't noticed until it's too late. So it looks like we got some sunny weather here. We're going to stay a couple more days. Solar panels are sucking in good energy. And it's April 2019. The Masters tournament is on. I like to watch the major golf, so we got a local channel coming in strong on our antenna, local CBS channel. So stay Saturday and Sunday, watch some Masters golf in this beautiful vineyard. Till next time, Ray from loveyourrv.com. Stay tuned, everyone. Cheers.